I'm the publisher and editorial director of Global Finance magazine. I want to welcome you to our first Transaction Processing Award ceremony. This ceremony, at the same time as Sibos, is new, but all of the awards we're presenting have been around for quite a while. Today, we're going to distribute awards for Best Sub-Custody Banks, Best Foreign Exchange Providers, Best Supply Chain Finance Providers, Best Trade Finance Banks, and Best Treasury and Cash Management Providers. I'll explain the methodology we use to select the winners. Global Finance's editorial team considered factors that range from the objective to the informed subjective. The objective criteria included growth in assets, profitability, geographic reach, and product innovation. Subjective criteria included the opinions of equity and credit analysts, banking consultants, and others in the industry, as well as corporate and finance executives. The winners are not always the biggest banks, but rather the best banks, those with the qualities that companies should look for when choosing a bank. These are banks with the most effective risk management systems and excellent service. Global Finance identified those banks that made significant contributions through their dedication to meeting customers' needs. I'm now going to introduce our managing editor, Denise Bedell. Denise is going to tell you about some of the changes that she sees in transaction processing and tell you about refinements we have and will introduce in our award selection process. Denise?
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. We are living in a time of profound change. 5 years ago, the world was turned upside down, and it will never again look just as it did before then. The economic power and importance of emerging markets have grown dramatically, and this is having a huge impact on how and where multinationals do business. We are entering the age of the tigers and jaguars as emerging markets multinationals expand abroad. For those multinationals in developed markets, it may indeed become a matter of adapt or die, as the biggest consumer markets shift from west to east and north to south. And all of these larger macro changes have had a huge effect on the transaction processors that allow global business and trade to thrive. Regulatory change is reshaping how banks and service providers operate, and consequently, how companies do business and the cost of business. As bank regulations change under global and domestic rules, trade finance and supply chain finance have become increasingly central to how companies secure their supply chains and fund themselves. But volatility has plagued the markets, and companies don't know from one day to the next how much they will have to pay for even the most basic trade finance products. It is critical that a level playing field be created as new regulations take final form. With globalization comes cross-border and cross-currency payments and the need to manage increased foreign exchange risk. The internationalization of the RMB, much discussed here at Sibos, is a prime example. Despite growth of offshore RMB centers and investment vehicles, hedging still presents a problem for those companies without a ready pool of RMB liquidity to provide a natural hedge. But demand for RMB settlement is increasingly becoming the cost of admission for accessing the Chinese markets. All of this is to say that the past 5 years have been a roller coaster ride for companies and for transaction processors that make it possible for them to do business. It has indeed been a wild ride, and it's not over yet. Nonetheless, I think most of us here today would agree it is a good time to be in the transaction processing industry. We at Global Finance have a dual mandate, providing a macro view of the world for our corporate readers and digging down into the financial management processes that allow them to succeed and grow within this world. Our awards program aims to help our readers identify those firms that are the best at what they do. And with that in mind, we are fine-tuning our winner selection process across many of our awards. For those awards whose methodology takes into account qualitative measures, we are incorporating additional evaluation mechanisms. For example, with our risk and insurance awards, which will be launched in December, we're using a multi-tier system to determine winners. We conducted a poll of our readers to develop a short list and provide additional feedback. And we've created a panel of corporate risk managers from blue-chip global and regional companies such as GE, BG Group, and GlaxoSmithKline to validate and inform the winners list. We will roll similar mechanisms out to other awards over the coming year. Without further ado, we are proud to present our Transaction Processing Awards to those firms who strive for and attain excellence in their industry.